There's a 14-point document that Mike Ferry, 14 points here, Mike gave you. Now, are these your notes?
These are my notes,
so these
buddy.
are your notes, but Mike gave you 14 points about what's changing in the market, 14 changes. We want to go through that because there's a lot to be talked about here and updates for people knowing, anybody looking to get into the market, questions on if you're buying or selling, investing, anything like that, renting. What should you be doing? What are we seeing happening as we go into this shifting market? And so for us on our team, we constantly prepare for this. We meet weekly to talk about these things. We meet quarterly to go deep dive into what's going on in the market. This is our job, is to keep you updated as to what's going on. So today's about real estate. Today's about the market. We're going to talk on that. We're going to touch on these 14 points, answer some questions. We got 14 points here that I'm sure we could literally spend hours on, but we'll try to narrow this down in 15, 20 minutes or so. So, but yeah, man. So you lead us off. These are your notes.
Yeah.
You tell
all
me
right.
what's
So
up. I thought you memorized.
I know. There's 14 of them. I think I got 12 and a half down. But so the first thing that Mike talks about is days on market is extending. And what that means is when you bring your house to market, how many days does it take for you to accept an offer on that home and technically go under contract? So, I mean, the last couple of years has been an abnormally low amount of days on market. Typically the median,
the median days on market was 4 to 5 days.
Yeah.
So that's the middle number. The average was 16 days on market.
Yeah.
In Northwest Indiana, we're talking about the region. So that's the market that we know. 16 is the average. 4 is the median.
Yeah. And typically, like, historically, if you were to say, like, 1 day on market, this thing sold, that would be, like, incredible.
Yeah,
that was
didn't exist.
not that.
No.
Like, crazy to hear the last couple of years.
No, that was normal. If it went past a day, you're like, well, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
And in the previous, like when I started in the business, when it was a normal real estate market, typically if you saw a house for 90 days, you're like, okay, that's it felt normal. Like 90 days on the market. Now you see it for 30 days, and it's like, what the hell's wrong? So days on market's increasing.
Is increasing.
And we're starting to see that with listings.
Yeah, we are starting to see that. That's definitely ringing true in our market.
See a property go on the market, and I'm like, and I'm used to everything being pending by the time we look at it again. And I'll go back, and a client will send us, hey, we want to see this one. And I'm like, that thing's still for sale? And I look it up, 24 days on market.
Yeah.
16 days on market. 34 days on market. So
also,
we're seeing it.
This is a great thing for buyers and sellers, I guess. Buyers in the sense that you don't have to drop everything you're doing. If you're trying to find your first house, or you're just trying to buy any house, downsize, whatever the situation is, you don't have to drop everything and run out to go see a house and put an offer in before you even get to like think about it too much, like you have the last couple of years. Or on the selling side, like if you list your home for sale, now you're not going to like have 15 offers to, wade through in the first day and have no time to find your next home.
Yes.
Now you can list your home and shop for a home at the same time.
Yes. Welcome to a normal market. By the way, good. This is all good stuff. We have seen 2 years of abnormality and insustainability. It's not going to maintain this way. It's no way that we can maintain the market that we're in. This is good stuff. Everything we're talking about here is good.
Inventory is growing on a national level is the second point that Mike talked about. So the number of homes for sale at a given time, actively for sale, not under contract, is growing, which is, again, good. I mean, I feel like we're a broken record, but choices are good when you're a buyer and you can choose between 10 different houses as opposed to like 2 houses that maybe one of them's grossly overpriced, but somebody's going to pay it.
Yep.
That's a good change.
Yeah. Inventory growing, more options for buyers. It's still significantly a seller's market in terms of month supply of inventory, which is a statistic that we use. We are still significantly on the seller side, month supply of inventory, and we should make some real content on that, some small content on that to share that. But it is still a seller's market. However, that's quickly shifting. From the beginning of the year, or the first quarter, the end of the first quarter, when we looked at days on market, month supply of inventory, less than 1 month supply. Now it's at 2 months supply of inventory. So it's more than doubled in the last 3 months. So we have twice as many homes active on the market in 3 months. Good sign. So inventory is growing.
Yeah. And then on a seller side of that is what are you like prepared to do to make your home stand out now that there's more homes on the market? Now's a great time to have a phenomenal real estate agent. This isn't the time that you just have so-and-so list your house because you're their friend. Third point is fewer COVID buyers in the market. And what Mike defined as a COVID buyer was maybe somebody can work from home now and they wanted to move just for a change of scenery, and many companies are requiring people to go back into office, and now that removes that demographic of people from the market.
Yes.
And then he also talked about people that were looking for a greener political pasture, that now maybe regulations have slowed down and they don't want to actually move. They want to stay where their family's currently planted and they're able to do so. So they've changed their mind on that. Or maybe somebody looking for a second home that is no longer doing so because of news of an oncoming recession.
Yes. Yeah. And the COVID buyer definitely increased the overall number of sales. The projections for 2022 now are at a more normal rate, a pre-pandemic rate, which, by the way, pre-pandemic, the years leading up to 2020 were the highest in total closed residential sales in homes around in the country. So now we're projection for back at that number, which, by the way, if we reduce to those numbers, keep in mind, those were the best real estate years in history before 2020 and 21.
That's right.
So,
and the next point is price reductions are now
4.
back in play. That is number 4.
Point number 4.
So people have been saying for the last couple of years, I'm waiting to buy for the crash. I'm waiting to buy for the crash. And now I don't want you to confuse price reductions being back in play with prices crashing.
Correct.
Those are
Big
two
difference.
different things.
Big difference.
Price reductions being back in play simply means that you can no longer list your home for 10% more than it's worth and get it.
Yes.
It means that you need to list at a market value, at or slightly below maybe,
Yes.
Depending on the condition of your home. But you need to list based on data, not on your greed.
And what we're seeing is because so many that we're fresh out of this or fresh into the shift. So many people are used to seeing the craziness, and the real estate's going to lag on that. So people then what they're doing is they're saying, oh, well, I can get this for my house, and they go for that number. So the price reductions, you're seeing a lot of price reductions because you have sellers who are overpricing their homes,
That's right.
not on data, based on what we've gone through the last 2 years, which is, oh, well, I can get this. And the answer is you no longer can.
That's right.
You need to price based on what your home is worth, which is based on what the homes around you are selling for.
That's correct. 100% correct. And number 5, interest rates will continue to be fluid. Yeah, I mean, interest rates are always fluid. They're not static. So this is going to hurt probably first-time home buyers, is what Mike laid out. He said that interest rates going up will lower the affordability for most people. And who does that affect most? People trying to, get their foot in the door. So unfortunately, higher interest rates are going to make it so some people can't afford the monthly payment that they could have when interest rates were 1.5 lower.
Correct. So as a seller, think about this. If you're selling a home, it will cost, if you sold that home right now for the same price as you did 4 months ago, with a 3% interest rate and a 5.5% interest rate, their monthly payment's $800 to $1,000 more per month. Do you think that's going to affect the prices buyers are willing to pay for homes? The answer is yes. So they're going to maintain fluidity. They're going to be going up and down. It's going to be interesting to see. If they get very high, like 7, 8, 9%, I think we're in for a very weird and tough period.
It's going to get weird quick.
Yeah. Fed just did a 75 basis point hike, and we didn't see mortgage rates go up. Mortgage rates actually went down, which they're separate. So anyway, we're going to see them continuing to fluctuate.
Yeah, they're going to go both directions, which, is can be intimidating, but ultimately if they do drop, you can always refinance. So don't panic too much. Point number 6 is buyers have more choices, which makes the home buying process more enjoyable. Which,
so damn true, man.
I mean, we've touched on this a couple times already in this segment. Having choices is a good thing as a home buyer. You shouldn't have to rush through a house, and then you shouldn't be asking yourself, how much over asking do I have to do to get in this home that I don't really even like that much, but there's not any other option.
Yeah. Dude,
that's a sad situation.
The last 2 years have honestly not been fun helping buyers because of the stress and the quick time decisions and all these things for buyers. It was not that enjoyable because for them.
Exactly.
It was now buyers can look at homes, look for the one that they want. They're getting closer to the point. Are there still some markets, some locations, some price points where it's very hot? Yes. It is still, keep in mind, like we talked about before, it's still a seller's market. So homes are still selling quickly, but all of these things are starting to happen. There's more options for buyers now, which is a lot more enjoyable. So,
when there's one townhouse for sale in the given area, everyone's looking at the same thing. It's really simple. Having 3 for sale gives the buyers a little bit of leverage, So point 7 is there are fewer showings and offers on each listing.
Yes.
Fewer buyers in the market, really. I mean, it's back to the affordability problem.
Higher interest rates, less buyer demand, less showings. And we're seeing that. I've got some beautiful properties listed right now that 6 months ago would have had multiple offers already, but they're on the high side of price like we talked about. So now they're only getting a showing here and a showing there, which, by the way, that is fairly normal in a normal market. In a house that's priced well, you're still going to get a good amount of showings and still sell quickly.
Number 8 would be projections for quarter 3 and quarter 4 are declining. As interest rates go up, makes sense that projections of numbers of sales nationally is going down. They're still projecting that we're going to close 5.3 million sales, which is incredible.
Yep.
Just when you compare that to the short term last couple of years, it looks like, significant decline. But look over a long enough timeline, and that is a solid year. 100%. You got anything on it?
I think everything that you said there is perfect. Like I mentioned it before, we're still going to hit numbers that are some of the best real estate years ever. Mm-hmm. Just pandemic 20 and 21 they were anomalies. They're not going to continue to happen. So we're going to more normal.
Prices are flattening out is point number 9. Again, this does not mean that there's going to be a huge price crash, but prices are flattening out, meaning that prices are going to continue to appreciate, but not on a 18-20% basis every year. That's just not
sustainable.
Correct.
And so before 2020 and 2021, the average home appreciated 3.6% on an annual basis. So if you had a $100,000 house, the next year was worth $103,600, right? And so on, 3.6%. Last 2 years, we saw 15+%.
Yeah.
Completely unsustainable. So
totally.
Prices flattening, by the way, is a good thing. Now, prices decreasing, I think, really does depend on what happens with interest rates.
Yep.
And overall, anything crazy in terms of a crazy recession, any crazy world wars, those things can affect
consumer sentiment.
Correct. Big time. But overall, I think that what we're going to see, flattening prices, think about it this way. What was the value of your home 2 years ago? And think about what's the value of your home now. So even if the prices flatten, which they're projected to still appreciate, because we still don't have enough
homes for sale,
and it's still a seller's market. So but after this year, it's supposed to go to a more normal 3%, 4% rate. That's what the projections are.
Mm-hmm.
This is good. This is good stuff. We were in unsustainable territory. We're now going into more sustainable territory. So these are good things. But I do think whether or not prices depreciate versus can slowly appreciate it is depending on what interest rates do and overall national and world economic situations, right? Russia-Ukraine stuff, China, all that stuff that's over with different countries, with China, the U.S. markets, all that stuff plays a factor in that. But in terms of housing, what we're seeing, it wouldn't be because of housing, right? Anyway, I think this is a good thing. Prices leveling off is good, but just remember, if you didn't buy or sell in the last 2 years, your value of your home is significantly higher.
Yeah.
Even if prices flat.
On the flip side of that, if you were a buyer and you decided to hold off the last 2 years because you thought that there was going to be a crash or for whatever reason, you're going to just wait it out, now homes are significantly more expensive than they were 2 years ago. So
exactly.
Can skin that kid either way. Point number 10 is expireds, withdrawns, and canceled listings are coming faster than ever. And to basically just kind of explain what that is it's a home that went on the market for sale, and an expired would be that the listing contract expired and that home's no longer for sale, taken off the market, the home didn't sell. Canceled would be that they canceled the listing contract, and then withdrawn was the contract's still in place, but it's no longer actively for sale.
And that's the only reason that's happening is because people are overpricing their houses for the market we were just in.
Correct.
Not pricing based off of comps. So
that's very simple solution to that. Price your home based off of data. Offers under list price are increasing. I'm personally buying a house underneath list price right now. I know that you just had a story about.
Just had a buyer get under contract in Crown Point for $45,000 under the asking price. Yeah. It's happening all the time. The time now. So we're going, again, a more normal real estate market.
That's right.
And the reason that happened, that person overpriced their house.
Yeah.
So they overpriced it, so we got it for a more normal price. Actually, probably less than what they could have if they would have priced it properly.
Contingencies, appraisals, and inspections are back in play. I think in our market, for the most part, people were, they were having appraisals done and having inspections done.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, on some of the most desired homes, those were waived, but contingencies were definitely a tough battle, really impossible last couple of years.
Yeah.
So that is so encouraging, especially if you're, somebody that needs to move up and can't afford to move into a bigger home without selling your, quote unquote starter home. Like that's a sad story for, to me. I think that really sucks when a client calls me and they're in that situation. Now it's encouraging to say, hey, it's possible. You're going to be able to list your home for sale and then buy a new home contingent on the closing of your home or the sale of your home.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I think this is great. It's great to now agents are going to have to learn how to navigate that. Because that's tough to deal with when you have a house that you need to sell in order to buy the next one. There's a lot more that goes into with the contingency process. So now you have to make sure you have an agent who understands that process and knows how to guide you through that process. There's so many things that go into that when a contingency is involved. So anyway, I think it's a good thing because now it takes people out of some of the pressure situations that they were in.
Absolutely. And then the last point here is seller concessions are back in play. So basically what that means is maybe you as a seller have to give some closing costs to the buyer for any reason, maybe an inspection problem or something. That's good that those are back in play because, again, it just leads to a more normal market.
Totally. And a lot of times these concessions, I had 2 offers this week where both times the concessions were being used not towards necessarily their closing costs. But remember, what's causing things to slow down to a more normal market? Interest rates. Exactly. So what were they doing with the concessions? They
buying
were
points.
Buying down points. They were buying down their interest rate.
That's right.
So those seller concessions are being used towards that. So a good negotiating point when you're a buyer's agent now.
Absolutely.
So all in all this here, right, there's a lot of things going on here. The answer to this is now you need to make sure that you are working, if you're someone in the market or know someone, you need to make sure they're working with an agent who knows what they're doing, who knows this process, who knows how to navigate what's happening here. Because it is now going into a market where a professional is very necessary, right? Whether you're selling, it's not just throw a sign in the front yard and let it go. It's not going to go like that anymore these days. You
can't take cell phone pictures.
You have to have a professional marketing plan.
That's right.
Process. What does that process look like? You have to have an effective and proper pricing strategy. You now need somebody who can navigate all of that process for listing and getting you the most money. You need to find an agent that can help you navigate all of this that's happening here. So any questions on that? Throw your comments into the video. Do you have anything else you want to add to this?
No, I was just going to say that these are not static. These 14 points, there's going to be more things that come up. And not only is it important to have a professional that understands these points, but somebody that's staying up to date on the market and is able to keep you informed as new changing factors enter the market. So, yeah, I mean, like you said, if you have any comments or questions or anything, I'd love to interact with people.
100%. I want to talk about this stuff.
Shoot us a comment, DM.
We nerd out about this stuff. We study numbers, facts, figures all day long. This is our business. We love doing it. So if any of you guys have any comments, if you want to share your projections, if you think we're doom and gloom, I'd love to talk about that. Let's do it. Let's talk about it. Some of my biggest mentors think we're going into a massive real estate recession or a massive real estate decline. And and it's not just because it's our business. There's a lot of data points and things that show that we're not necessarily going that route. So I'd love to have those conversations and honest debates. So anyone wants to talk about it, let's do it. As far as how we're handling it, feel free to ask us questions. We train on this every single week, multiple times a week. This is what we do. So thank you guys so much for hopping on the show. I hope you enjoyed the real estate related segment today and appreciate you guys watching. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.